Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more buckshot testing. And I've definitely got a pretty interesting combination out here today that I'm really looking forward to seeing how it performs. It might do pretty good, it might do terrible, but we're going to find out and see either way. But for the shell I've got out here today, I've brought out some more of these, the Winchester Double X buckshot loads. These are a 12 gauge, 3.5 inch, 15 pellet load of double aught buck, moving about 1450 feet per second. And these are some hot loads. They will kick the snot out of you when you shoot them. We've tested them once before, and I think they did kind of average from what I remember. But through today's setup, I'm really curious to see what happens. And speaking of that setup, I've got the Mossberg 835 Ulti-Mag out here again, obviously, because it has a 3.5 inch chamber. And for a choke, I've gone a pretty interesting route here. This is a Kicks Gobblin Thunder 680 constriction turkey choke. Now, we've tested once before on the channel a while back shooting buckshot through a turkey choke, because you can do it, at least for the little bit more open constriction turkey chokes. I wouldn't shoot it through a really super tight turkey choke, but something like this makes a little more sense, and here's why. These 835s are overboard to a 10 gauge barrel size, and this is a 680 constriction turkey choke, which is a turkey constriction for this gun. However, in a normal size 12 gauge bore, 680 would fall somewhere between a full and an extra full choke, which I'm really curious to see how it does with these 3.5 inch shells. But as for the test, we're going to do it the same way we usually do. I have the big paper set up down at 40 yards. I also have the chronograph, so we'll be able to see what kind of speed we're running and how close it is to what the box is claiming. I also have the templates out here that we can lay over our target and kind of get a reference point as to how they would have done with some circles and if you would have taken that shot on an animal. So let's get you guys set up with a view of this chronograph and we'll take our shot and then we'll go down range and see how they really performed. So let's head over here and shoot them and see what these big 3.5 inch 15 pellet double aught buck loads can do through this 680 turkey choke. Alright, so after getting the snot kicked out of me there, that round gave us 1491 feet per second through the chrono. The box was claiming 1450, so we definitely saw what the box was saying. So nothing too out of the ordinary up here, but how did they actually perform down range? Let's go take a look and see. Alright, so now we're down here looking at our 40 yard paper, and this is what we got. Now for reference, this paper is 36 inches wide by roughly about 36 inches tall, and the white dot here in the middle was my point of aim. And it's kind of funny because, as you can see, we pretty much drew a circle around my point of aim there with the center of that pattern. It's definitely something a little bit strange, a little bit interesting. But backing up here and looking at the rest of the pattern, it gave us 14 out of the 15 pellets on this paper here. So we are missing one pellet somewhere, and the pattern that we do have here, I mean, it's not terrible. It's definitely not the best pattern we've seen, and it's nothing like a flight control load or anything like that. I think it would look a whole lot better if, you know, one or two of these pellets were at least like kind of close to my point of aim there, but that circle we drew right in the middle of that pattern there definitely doesn't make it really look all that amazing. But what we do have here, it's definitely not terrible either. But let's throw a couple templates up here, and that might give us a little bit better reference on how it actually practically performs. So let's start with the 10 inch circle and see what that gave us. Alright, so here's our 10 inch circle, and as we can see, we had one pellet barely squeak into that 10 inch circle. And that just highlights even more how we drew a pretty much complete circle around the point of aim, because all the rest of the pellets in this area here are behind this template. I mean, it's an almost exact circle around the 10 inch template here. So, I mean, we had sort of a condensed area in the middle, but the very center core area, we had pretty much nothing. But let's throw the 30 inch circle up and see kind of how even our overall pattern might be, or at least get a little bit better reference on how even it is. Alright, so here's our 30 inch circle, and if we kind of line that up with our point of aim, it gave us 12 pellets within that circle out of the total 15 in the shell. And looking here, I mean, we had a good chunk of them in kind of the middle-ish area of that circle there. So, I mean, not too terrible. Definitely a little bit more open than what I would like it to be, but let's see how it would have done in a hunting scenario. We'll start off with the deer template and see kind of what that looks like. Alright, so here's our deer template, and if we line it up with the point of aim there, we have his front leg down there and his neck just starting to the right side. It gave us 12 pellets and barely 12 because that one up there might have gotten just the skin, but they did give us 12 pellets that hit this deer. Now, out of the 12 pellets here, in the vital area here, definitely a little bit lackluster. I mean, these 3 up here might have got, you know, back top edge of the lung, liver area. Those 2 definitely got guts. These 2 down here might have gotten some kind of bottom artery or something off the heart, but I think more so than not, these couple up here in the neck area probably did most of the damage on this deer. So would you have gotten this deer? Yeah, probably. I do believe it's a dead deer. That is a lot of buckshot pellets hitting this deer. But vital area, not all that amazing. And I think it's going to be pretty much the same story when we take a look at our hog template, but let's throw it up there and see, just for the sake of it, what that looks like. Okay, so here's our hog template, and that gave us a total of 11 pellets that would have hit the hog. Now with this, it is kind of sort of pretty much the same story. The real vital area right there, not very impressive, but we had enough in, you know, the back, lungs, liver area there, up through the neck, the arteries, that kind of stuff, to where I do believe this would have been a dead hog. Now, seeing as how tough these things are, he might have ran a little ways on you, but I think you would have gotten him. So I don't know. Kind of a mixed bag on this performance. On one hand, definitely wasn't terrible. On the other hand, not having any pellets right in that center area there definitely hurt our performance quite a bit, I would say. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that performance there? It's definitely not what I would call a terrible performance, but seeing as though we didn't have anything in that whole entire core area there, definitely hurt our performance, I would say. At least with buckshot, if anything, you kind of want a couple of those pellets kind of right where you're aiming, even if the rest of the pattern is spread out a little bit. So, I don't know on this one. Maybe a little bit too much choke, maybe not enough choke, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts about it. And of course, leave a comment and let me know, is that about what you expected to see? Or were you hoping for a little bit better? And if you would like to see these tested through another constriction, a little bit tighter, a little bit more open, either way, then by all means let me know and we can bring it out here and test it. But either way, I've got a bunch more stuff to film for you guys, so I'm going to jump back to it. Stay tuned, we've got plenty more stuff on the way. As always, we do have a channel Instagram as well as a mailbox now, so if you're interested in any of that stuff, it will all be in the description for you. But I'm going to get back to the testing, so I'll see y'all in the next one.